drugs in a lot of ways. We'll use drugs after surgery, so we'll cut out most of the tumor, but most people know cancer spreads. And we use drugs that go around the whole body. We also use drugs to shrink tumors. In the case of mostly leukemias and blood-borne cancers, we actually use drugs specifically to kill the tumor cells. So there's a whole kind of series of strategies that we use, and it's very often with surgery, with radiation, or combinations of drugs based on the specific tumor type. I collaborate with almost every colleague at the Flint Animal Cancer Center. Doug Tham and I actually have very similar interests in terms of the way we do things, except he's actually a veterinary oncologist. He's a clinician, and so his expertise on actually treating animals with cancer really kind of helped me understand the kind of yeses and nos and do's and don'ts of doing things. We're both kind of preclinical pharmacology, drug development people, but he's much more on the hands-on side.
So I'm a professor of medical oncology here at the Flint Animal Cancer Center, and my laboratory is the Experimental Therapeutics Laboratory. So in very, very broad terms, I study new ways to treat cancer, and that could be new drugs. One of the really critically important questions to ask when we're doing these, especially early studies, is how much of the drug that I'm studying is actually ending up in the patient? And is that enough, based on the work that we did in the lab, that it's predicted to do any good? So one of the things that we unfortunately sometimes see, although it's incredibly important to know, is the amount of drug that we were actually able to give to a patient wasn't enough to do the job that we wanted it to do based on what we saw in the laboratory. And that can be a really critical piece of information for anybody who wants to do additional work with this drug, to say, this may not be a good one for you to do, maybe go back to the drawing board and look for something else. So it's an absolutely critical component of all the work that we do, especially with these what we call early phase studies.
Pharmacology is really key to translational science. And so we had a drug that could modulate the immune system and block this population of immune cells that are normally present within your body that are co-opted by tumors. And when you block them, you could slow lung metastasis. We moved this drug into a canine clinical trial, right? So treating dogs with spontaneous tumors that metastasize to the lungs. And by doing that pharmacology in the mice, we knew, okay, we got to get to this drug level to maybe have this same type of effect in the dogs. And we were able to kind of safely escalate the dose in the dogs until we reached that drug level. And sure enough, once we did, at the lower levels, we really didn't see that kind of anti-cancer effect or anti-metastatic effect. But once we got to those higher levels, with Dan's help measuring the drug in the dogs, we started to see clinical responses in these patients. And so, now that therapy's been moved into human patients with this same type of cancer, and again, we're doing the same thing, working with Dr. Gustafson, measuring the drug levels in the blood of these human cancer patients and trying to determine, how we can escalate the dosage of this drug to get to those effective levels.
Team science and collaborative science is really the way we do science and the most effective way to do science.
The collaboration opportunities are really limitless here at the Flint Animal Cancer Center, and there are so many different investigators that all have different areas of expertise that are so complementary to the work that I do and to the work that everyone else does, that we're constantly collaborating.
I think that's the value of the Animal Cancer Center, is collaboration and partnerships, and having the opportunity there and the skill sets there to bring together this multidisciplinary team. Through that, I guess my ultimate hope always is to translate therapies from right here in the lab, and then from right downstairs in our clinic and our canine patients, to improving the lives of dogs with cancer, but also to improving the lives of people with cancers.